CeeDee Lamb got paid, and there's still one thing that really baffles me about this whole thing. Let's get to it. Here we go. What is up, everyone, and welcome into A to Z Sports Dallas Primetime. I am your host, Mauricio Rodriguez, streaming with you live every Sunday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, and catching up with you Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday with quick-hitting videos such as this one. And sometimes the script writes itself, just like today. Cowboys signed CeeDee Lamb to a 4-year contract extension worth $136 million. That comes in at $34 per year. That makes him the second highest paid wide receiver, just behind Minnesota Vikings Justin Jefferson. Some key differences here and there. CeeDee Lamb comes in $10 million guaranteed less than Justin Jefferson, who got 110. CeeDee gets 100. CeeDee does get the higher signing bonus, though, $38 million at signing versus, 36.9 for Justin Jefferson. So just a tiny little difference, but at least he gets the bragging rights of being the highest signing bonus ever for a non-quarterback. So shout out to number 88, finally got done. I think Cowboys fans should be excited about it just because, man, you took care of it. You have an all-pro wide receiver going into the season. We are still 2 weeks away from kickoff, and the Cowboys now move on to really figuring out how do they make this work for week 1 versus the Cleveland Browns. Mike McCarthy told reporters after the deal got done that he was going to have a plan and that they would need to be smart with them. Now, if we put on the speculation hats, I think that might mean that it's going to be some sort of pitch count for CeeDee in week 1, but you know how it is. If that is a tight game, late in the game, for example, they could be forced into playing him much more than they originally anticipated. Some notes, though, on the CeeDee Lamb deal, and this is where I'm going to get into what really baffles me about this whole situation. Shout out to Jane Slater from NFL Network, as always, coming in clutch with the top details of the whole story. Jane Slater took to Twitter, and she posted some details, and I'm going to read some of those. 2 sides off and on in recent weeks, so this seems like it wasn't anywhere near the smooth department, right? It was rough, just as we imagined, with CeeDee Lamb posting the Spider-Man stuff on his story, the whole LOL thing that happened as well, and simply the fact that the preseason ended and there was no deal in place. And if you were wondering why that was, we got some numbers. So according to Jane Slater, for a long time, the Cowboys were at $32.5 million average per year. Then they moved up to 33. Now, I am guessing this is around the time that Dallas Morning News reported that CeeDee had gotten an offer underneath the $33 million, which is what prompted, seemingly so, the whole Spider-Man stuff on Instagram. And then James later adds that Lamb in his camp had been at $34 million forever. This makes sense. Remember, Justin Jefferson, CeeDee Lamb, at the end of the day, you're talking about the same agency, right? Which is taking care of these particular deals and everything. So it makes sense that from the start, CeeDee Lamb's camp wasn't looking for more than Justin Jefferson, or they were looking for the same as Justin Jefferson, because it comes to a point where they got to define who is their top guy and who is the top wide receiver out of the two. And I've talked about this. Justin Jefferson has the better numbers, and they are very comparable, but I think he does have CeeDee beat. The only difference, or the only thing that CeeDee has that is tangible, that he could be like, he's better than Jefferson, is durability, because in the same time span, CeeDee has not missed games. Justin Jefferson has missed six of them. So that's the only argument that CeeDee could have going for him. But it is interesting to hear that they were never looking for the same number as Jefferson. They were always fine at $34 million, which what baffles me is we all have been expecting these numbers for a long, long time. David Hellman, shout out to him, man. Let me see if I can find that David Hellman tweet very quickly. David Hellman joked on Twitter, like, this is the same number that I came up with on vacation months ago, the moment that Justin Jefferson's deal got done. And he asked a question which I think we were all wondering, it's why are they like this, right? Why did it took so long to come to this number, right? David Hellman was like, LMFAO, I correctly speedballed the CeeDee deal 2 months ago from the side of a pool while I was on vacation. Why are they like this? Because David Hellman, upon the Jefferson contract, he tweeted out 4 years, 136 million, 100 million guaranteed. So he nailed every single one of the important numbers on Lamb's deal. And again, I think that's more or less where we were all at. We were all expecting very similar deals for a very similar deal, for CeeDee. We were all expecting for him to be right underneath Justin Jefferson in guaranteed money, in total value. We were all expecting a 4-year deal. So it really baffles me that it took so long for the Cowboys to get these deals. Now, I'm not trying to say that they don't know what they're doing or that they didn't know this was going to be what it took. But I do wonder if the Cowboys look at everything that happened and do they evaluate their process in the sense that what did you gain by waiting this out? Because the price never went down. So this is just another example of the Cowboys drawing out a negotiation where they don't necessarily win the negotiation, because this doesn't seem to be a win for the Cowboys financially speaking. And instead, what you got was a full offseason and preseason process where CeeDee was not around for the Cowboys. And that is where we focus our attention now. How is CeeDee Lamb going to look when the season starts after missing all of that time with Dak Prescott? And I think you can look at it two ways. Number one, you could be pessimistic and you can be like, what made the Dak Prescott CeeDee Lamb connection so special in 2023 was that they worked obsessively with each other. And that's something that Dak told us. That's something that CeeDee Lamb told us. They were all in during the offseason, well before reporting to OTAs, to minicamp, to training camp eventually. CeeDee and Dak put in the work. And Dak talked about this during the season. He was like, we're just cashing in. All of those hours that we put into this, we're cashing that in. We're cashing that in. Now, fast forward to 2024, and you might be like, well, if you didn't do that this year, they, of course, worked together away from the team, but all of training camp, they were not together. All of the offseason program, they were not together. Does that negatively impact their chemistry? Or you could look at it from the other side of the coin, the most optimistic side of it, and you could be like, hey, listen, this might be one of those examples where they have put the work in. It's not like the chemistry is going to disappear out of nowhere. They're still going to be able to draw from it. That is not going away at all. And maybe these two hit the ground running when the season starts. Let me know in the comments, what is one word to describe CeeDee Lamb being back with the Cowboys? Because, man, I'm just going to keep it simple. I'm just going to say, man, it is relieving. Honestly, it's what we expected. It's not like we are surprised that the deal got done. This has been different to the Dak Prescott negotiation for a long time because there's been very, very, very large optimism that this was always going to get done. So that's exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for me today. I'll see you tomorrow. Probably we will have a live show on Tuesday, by the way, because we're going to be reacting to roster cuts right after they have happened and once the Cowboys have an initial 53-man roster. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning into tonight's show. Thanks so much. Hit the like button. Bye-bye.